Hi, welcome to LSAT Freedom Founders Forum on, okay, so you go, you take the LSAT, you've graduated from college, now you're applying to law school. Some students wonder how many schools should they apply to, because it does cost money, usually with a application fee, but students obviously want to be sure that they actually get in somewhere, so some of them have a tendency to apply to a bunch of schools. So what are y'all's thoughts on how many schools you should apply to?
Well, it obviously depends on your LSAT score. If you score well, you have a lot of options. If your score is lower, you have obviously fewer options. But often it depends on how much money you have, because a lot of these applications cost money. So you do have, most people have a limit. I suggest picking out one or two schools that are maybe just at the cusp of your reach. Picking maybe 4 or 5 schools that are right there you think that you can get into, and then maybe 1 or 2 safety schools that you know for sure you'll get into. And that's usually a healthy number of applications.
I would agree with that. I would say no more than 10 at the maximum, using more or less the same formula that Rob just described. I think there's a tendency to be over-inclusive in who you apply to. We've had students that have applied to 25, 50 schools, just to sort of cover the nation with their name, or maybe they're getting a lot of fee waivers. If you need information on fee waivers, check out our blog. We have a blog post on that exact subject. I think what you really want to do is look at where you want to practice law. If you're going to practice in a major market, look at schools in that area that are good, and use your safety schools for local schools in that area. They usually funnel graduates to local firms. If you're applying to a small school in a remote area that you don't plan to practice, that's not really a useful useful application you want to submit. So just think about where you want to practice. Think about where you will likelihood that you'll get accepted using the LSAT score and your GPA as a guide, and really limit it to about 10 schools so you can really stay focused on providing good applications.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you take your GPA and LSAT and you're both in kind of the 75th percentile for a given school, then you're going to have a very high probability that you're going to get in, unless you do something stupid in the application process. So I would find those schools and just do 1 or 2 in that, if you're in that, and then start to look at some of the other ones. I mean, if you're in the bottom 25th percentile for GPA in a school, but you're in the 75th for GPA, or LSAT's low, GPA's high, well, that's going to be tough. I think if you're in like a mid-range with your GPA, but you're in the 75th percentile in the LSAT, then you should apply, because you're going to have a good chance. So I would say your best chance of getting in places are those schools where you are in the 75th percentile or higher with the LSAT. And if that's the case, you can pick those and do it. And then if your LSAT's in the bottom 25th percentile, those may be some schools that you may not want to send too many applications to, those type of schools, because the success rate's likely not to be very high. Well, thanks for tuning in to the discussion on LSAT related topics and law school related topics. Check us out on YouTube. We have more videos posted on our Founders Forum series.